Welcome to Rainbows Rising, where we ascend together. I am your host, Rainbow Raaja, and I have a super special episode for you guys tonight. I have a guest. We have Walking Crow with us this evening. Walking Crow is going to be telling you a little bit about his journey and the type of medicine that he offers. Welcome, Walking Crow.
Oh, thanks for having me. Good to see you again. It's been a while.
It has. It's good to see you too. So last time I saw you, we were making drums in a drum workshop. Are you still hosting those drum making ceremonial workshops?
Still hosting them, but I'm limiting them now to like maybe 5 or 6 people max, so everybody gets my personal attention. And then I do individual sessions here at my home in Sedona, and we get to do one-on-one, which is pretty cool. So people get that full attention with me and do the ceremony and all of that. Yep.
Yeah, I know that when I was in your workshop, there was kind of a vie for your attention. Everybody was kind of crowding you a little bit. So I can imagine that was a really strong boundary you needed to draw there. It was like, can't have too many people here.
Well, I got to tell you about that. Those are all, usually they're spiritual people who show up to do that kind of a journey. I call it a journey. I don't call it a class or a workshop. But the only 2 people out of all those people who weren't needing or wanting my time literally were you and your partner. You guys were like doing your thing, and you got it. You just had to look at it, and you got it. And I would come over and look on, and like, they don't need me. I go over here.
Well, I remember
somebody told me to do it.
My partner's drum ended up like the string or something that had been with that like broke or something mid rap. So I remember you needing to help with that, but I did notice that everybody had so many questions, and there were just a lot of people who are going through a lot, and I was in a really peaceful place in my own life, and I was like, hey, I have his number, I can call him, I'm sure he can make time if I really need him. So I appreciate you giving those people that time, and and for giving me time when I do reach out. And I like just to reach out and say hi sometimes.
Yeah, you do. And you did something different than everybody else. You went into tying your drum, and I want to say to fit your personality, because you did more of a what looked more like a webbing than anything else. And I remember that. And I thought, literally my thought was, I hope that holds together, and I'm sure it still does. But,
yeah. I can grab it.
The creative nature of doing that, people don't get creative because sometimes they're a little fearful, There you go.
Yep, I still have it. It's one of my favorite drums to use. Even though I believe it was a deer skin, or was it elk? It was elk. Buffalo. It was elk. And I remember because we talked a lot about stamina.
Oh, okay.
About having stamina for the long haul. And I believe my drum will have stamina, but it's really held up, and it ended up having like a really deep resonance for the size.
That's a nice resonance.
Yeah, it's been really helpful in my healing work for myself. I mostly use it for myself, or like, work I have to call in some ancestors for.
There you go, yeah.
So speaking of drum making, we always have to utilize animals for these drums. And I know in your other work, you've been making fans, and I think I saw some pouches at one point, like feather fans and stuff. When you're doing that work, how do you connect and draw power from those animals?
Well, interestingly enough, all the feathers, the wings that I have, all that, I mean, I have like, I don't know how many owls, how many hawks. It's usually roadkill, and I pick it up and I do ceremony with the animal. Let's use owl, for instance. The last owl I picked up was on the way back from Nogales, Mexico. And it's 4-hour drive there, 4 hours back. The whole time my guides were telling me, watch the road, keep your eye on the road, keep your eye on the road. But they didn't mean because I needed to stay awake or anything, or keep watching my speed. They were asking me to look for the animals because I saw deer, I saw bobcats, I saw all kinds of things on the road, but I was moving so fast that I couldn't pull over and do anything about it. But on the way back, I was just outside of Tucson, and I saw this thing in the road, so I pulled over, I passed it, and I backed up. And interestingly enough, I thought it was a cat. I thought it was a tabby, those orange cats like Garfield. So I get out of my car, I go back to look at it, and it's a barn owl, a beautiful orange, just pristine barn owl. Probably got hit that morning or hit a car that morning, but was sitting out in the 109-degree heat. It was pretty stinky, so I put him in a bag, took him with me brought him back here to my home. And owl medicine is about your inner knowing, seeing somebody for their true self. I was talking to another medicine woman today, a curandera here in Sedona today, and I was talking to her about a past marriage of mine where my wife would say things to me, and I would say, "Are you going to tell me that? You're going to say that to me?" And she would say, "Well, yeah, why?" I'm like, "Well, I carry owl medicine because I know when people are telling me truth or lies. I'm looking at you," I said, "and not looking at you, I'm looking into you." So owl medicine for me is significant of that, that medicine is about my knowing, my dark, and seeing into the darkness and knowing what's there.
Mm.
And so the wings, when I get back, I usually do ceremony, which involves my blend of tobacco, sage, prayer, drumming, rattling, and I usually take the wings, I take the tail feathers if they're complete, I even take the talons, and I keep those and I use those for medicine later. Sometimes I don't even have them made into fans, I just use them the way they are. Now I have some feather fans that were made for me by a woman in Portland, Oregon, my friend Charity. She said that she made fans one day, and I thought, oh, cool, I'll remember that. So I called her. I said, how much would you charge me? I want to make 3 fans. I have a crow wing from a complete crow that I had picked up right before I moved to Sedona. And I have a great horned owl tail feathers, which I picked up in just outside of Santa Barbara on the 101, and then I have a Cooper hawk tail feather, which I picked up. I was on the way to Grass Valley, and I was driving through Stockton, and there it was, and I brought all those home with me, or I did ceremony with the Cooper hawk up in Grass Valley, and I brought all those parts back with me. And she said, "Are you kidding?" When I asked her how much she would charge me, she said, "I would be so honored to do those for you for nothing."
Wow.
And I was like, wow. She says, "You have no idea," because she honors me constantly when I'm doing something, and she'll send me messages and because I not only honor the medicine, but I honor the divine spirit of duality within me with regard to the divine feminine and divine masculine. And she's a priestess, and she is also native. So she said, "Just send them to me, and I'll start working on them." I said, "Okay." So I sent them to her, and then she said, "Hey, I have this drum that I made, and it's made with sinew. Do you know what sinew is? It used to be catgut, but it's now this waxy material that a lot of the native crafters used, and it was tied with that on the back, and it gotten old and over time and loose. And she said, "Would you retie my drum?" I'm like, "Absolutely. Are you kidding? That's all you want me to do?" "Yeah, I'll do that." So the gift of trading, the gift of people honoring me and taking my medicine and turning it into even more medicine is really an incredible gift. I mean, the hawk is about communication. It's Mercury. It's about communication and how far I see, how from above, and what it is that I see and what it is that I know. In fact, I was on my way to my studio in the village of Oak Creek here in Sedona yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yesterday. Or was that Saturday? I don't even know. It was yesterday. And I came across a juniper tree, and there was two hawks sitting in it. And I flipped the U-turn to go back because I wanted to honor the medicine. And I made another U-turn and parked in front of the juniper tree. I got out of the car. They didn't go anywhere. They stayed. And I started to speak to them and thank them for their presence in my life because I knew something was coming. I just wasn't quite sure what. And as I was speaking to them, they screeched at me and they both flew off together. And I thought, well, that's interesting. I wonder what that means, right? And then something happened this morning that led to something else. And there's somebody who came into my life that wants to be in my life. And I thought, oh, they flew off together. So I need to pay attention to the behavior of the animal, not just that the animal's there. What did the animal do? You know, I was driving through the Navajo Nation to Window Rock, Arizona a year ago, August, and I kept seeing crows sitting on the telephone lines. I mean, it was like every other telephone line. And I'm like, what are they trying to tell me? And I started talking to them, and it was literally about communication, about the transformation that I was going through, because I had just seen you in June or May, and I was chronically ill. And I told you this the other day, and I didn't even tell you. I was just really sick. And I was when I was going to Window Rock, Arizona, to the Navajo Nation. And here were all these crows, and they were reminding me that I'm alchemy, I'm shape-shifting, and I was going through a transition in my life that I wasn't paying attention to. And to pay attention, because that's what my medicine is. Crow is keeper of the sacred law. Crow is alchemy. Crow is shape-shifting from darkness to light. So, and I mean, I'm a lot healthier than I was a year ago, but it was really about doing the shape-shifting and the work that I needed to do with my mother and my father, who's been gone for almost 30 years. My mother's still here, but I needed to do that work. In fact, when I saw you last, I was living in her home for 5 months, and I hadn't done that since I was 19. So, you know, it was
Crows
a lot
also
of
have crows also have a deep connection with family because they're, you know, very, very communal birds. They mourn their dead. They have family units, and they can even pass wisdom from, you know, recognizing different animals or even specific humans, like generations down. You know, a crow might recognize you because you look like somebody that fed it 2 generations back. It's just really, really incredible. Like the family connection in crows in general. So it's just kind of beautiful how these crows were communicating to you about this communication with your mother and communicating with you about, you know, healing that ancestral wound that obviously was sickening you. And that's beautiful, beautiful medicine.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, my mom and I would, last summer, she watches the Dodger games, and I would sit with her and watch the Dodger games, and I don't like sports. And one day I was sitting there and I was asking my guides, why am I sitting here watching Dodger games? And the answer they gave me, and I need something square, I'll use my phone, They said, you are home to change the bases of your fundamental relationship with your mother. And I was like, are you effing kidding me? That's how you're going to do it? That's what you're going to tell me? That's how it's going to happen through baseball? And that's just what happened, just being in the room, not necessarily having conversations and talking, although we did do some of that. We were busy watching the game, but we were in the same place together in peace, in harmony. There was nothing happening. It was just for the first time in a lifetime, there I was sitting with her and learning how to be with my mother without having to ask or beg for love that I didn't get as a child, as a younger person, but I didn't need to ask her for that. I was getting it just as I was sitting in the room and giving it at the same time. Just
holding space. Yes, beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. So you never know, you know. And then was I wearing a patch when you saw me?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, that was a wound from my father that I had to do the work on, and my healer. I went to see her 3 or 4 times. On the 5th time, I went to see her, and I was on the table and she was preparing the room, and I started to cry. And I started to cry, and I started to cry. And I was soaking, the table was soaking wet. I'm looking at your table back there, and mine's back here uncovered. I was just crying and crying and crying, and my shirt was wet. The pillow was wet. Everything was, that's how much I was crying. She says, what's going on with you? I said, it's here. She says, what's here? The issue in my tissue that is affecting my eye, the thing with my father. And she says, well, do you want to talk about it? I said, yeah. I've never been afraid to do the work. And she says, so tell me. And, you know, and it's highly personal, but I'm going to tell it because others need to hear this, because they never know what it is that's going to help them. And my father, as a child, my father was an alcoholic all my life. But my mom used to work sometimes days, sometimes swing shifts, sometimes graveyard. This particular time, I was about 5 years old. She was working swing, so she was at work. And my father was home, and he was looking for a tool or something. I don't even know what he was looking for, but he was looking for something. And he blamed us for losing it. It had to be us, not that he was drunk and may have misplaced it, but he blamed us and he lined us up. It was just my older brother, 2 years, and the younger sister 2 years younger than me. But I was first in line, and he took a rope, a nylon rope, threw it over the rafters in the garage, tied a slip knot in it, put it around my neck, and said, if you don't tell me where that tool is, I'm going to hang you.
Wow.
I carried that the rest of my life. 53 years I carried that. And I was talking to a friend of mine in Ireland who is a mystic, and we're doing a talk show, and he looks at me, and I'm wearing a patch. He says, that eye thing with you is about anger. And I had searched my life. I couldn't find the anger. I couldn't find any anger, but it had turned into hurt. It was showing up as a wound, hurt, not sadness, not actually anger. So I told her this, and she said, well, are you ready to go to work? I'm like, yeah. So she said, I want you to talk to your father, because my father's been dead for 29 years. She said, I want you to talk to your father. I want you to forgive him. And then I want you to forgive you. And then I want you, she says, do you know the Ho'oponopono? I said, yeah. She says, I want you to recite that to your father, and then to yourself, and then to your father, and then to yourself, till you don't have to do it anymore. And I fell asleep doing that. And then she went to work. And when I left there, never wore the patch again.
Wow. Well, congratulations for that.
Thank you. And the power of healing the lineage is just amazing if people can get over their pride and their anger and their toughness, if you will.
Yeah. The animal medicine just really runs very, very deep. And the animals, I mean, I'm sure you doing the work that you do, you probably have done quite a few journeys and visited the animals in their realm. And I know that even in my journeys to the lower world and like working with them down there, just like it's really interesting the types of animals that come up when you go down there for healing or for messages. Like some of the things you just really wouldn't expect. You wouldn't expect how you get the medicine either. I had a journey one time. I went down. I don't know if this is like you're allowed to do this or not, but I'm just gonna set the intention that this is for someone. This is for someone listening. So I went down and I had an intention. I can't remember what the intention is, but I went down into the lower world and I came across kind of like a pit of scorpions. And at first I was kind of freaked out. I was like, oh my gosh, scorpions. But then I became one of the scorpions and I started fighting another scorpion. And like, it was just really weird, like how they battled and like being in the throes of this clashing and the fire. Like there's so much fire, but it's like tempered fire because they like pull back their before unleashing it. Is just really interesting. Like I never ever thought, oh yeah, that would be a great way to like get healing is to go down there and become an animal and like live as that. But it really was very, very impactful on me. Coming out of it, I felt very empowered. And I had gone through like several different kind of visions after the whole fight thing, but the fight was just very vivid for me because the way they moved and interacted, it was so tangible to me.
Yeah.
And I know coming back that I had brought this ability of waiting and reading other people's movements before acting. It was this patience and this inner knowing that I had power to, either heal or hurt, and that I have to be very careful with how I utilize that medicine in my own life. And I just thought that was, a really interesting way that spirit gave me that information.
We never know how that's going to come.
Yeah.
I mean, I see two hawks, right? I know what they're symbolic of, but then today, I'm sitting across the table from somebody who just wants to, and I was like, oh, they flew off together. And when I left her, I was like, okay, I got it. Okay, it's not just about just that kind of.
Is she also a spiritually in tune person? Oh, that explains it.
She's a curandera.
That makes so much sense.
We've known each other for a while through social media, and just this morning I sent her a message asking her if she would like to have lunch, and she said yes. And it was really, when we sat down there, what's interesting, oh no, she's not. I don't know why I thought she was a Scorpio, but we were in the Scorpio moon. It was like we have known it. We never stopped talking the whole time we were sitting there. It was just sharing and sharing and sharing and sharing.
Don't you love those conversations?
Yeah, because the night before I had a conversation with an artist from up in Jerome, and she kept telling me how different she was and how this she was and that she was, and I was just like, I want to hang up now.
Oh no.
Like I didn't care. I said, well, I don't know about that. I don't get into all the personalities and drama and ego. I said, that's none of my business. She kept telling me about ex-boyfriends and stuff. And it's like, why do I need to hear that? I don't need to be talking to you.
Well, it sounds like that was her healing process. She's going through kind of wrapping up her old ends and figuring out who she is and what she wants. And it's important that she does that. And it's important that you set your boundary on, you don't need that right now. So that's great.
In fact, she said, you know, I'm getting ready. I want to move out of Arizona. I said, not me. I'm not moving back to Cali. Sorry. That was a boundary. But, you know, I don't really want to be with somebody who's got that much work to do. Because what happens is we become a crutch, and I don't want to be anybody's crutch. You've got to do that on your own. I'm not here to fix you. This woman today, I don't have to fix. It's a balanced nature, and I love that. You know, I'm not looking towards anybody for anything, and I talked about it. If you saw my video this morning, I said, if love yourself like you want a lover to love you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can do that, that lover will appear. That person will appear and be a part of your life. But you can't wait for the outside source to come and fix you, because I was married 3 times.
So you're a master at that.
Right. But that was all related to my mother. I had to do that ancestral work.
Mm.
I had no business trying to love a woman that I couldn't love, because I was busy not being able to love myself. Low self-esteem, ego, low, superiority complex with low self-esteem and all that stuff. No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work for anybody. You know, you hear about it all the time. There's people in relationships constantly, and they never do anything about themselves, but they want to do something about the relationship. Well, do something about yourself, and you'll be doing something about the relationship, like the collective. Everybody wants to repair the collective, but they don't want to do anything about themselves. And I tell my clients, do the work, and the collective will heal on its own as the individual parts of the collective heal itself.
That's right.
The collective doesn't heal as a whole.
Now, you know, tonight was mostly about animal spirits, but you know what? You brought up something about love and this whole collective consciousness. I've noticed, a lot of people are like really, really coining in on this phrase, twin flame. These twin flames. I have my personal opinion about what I feel this twin flame thing is all about, but I would really like to hear what you think this twin flame is about, and if it ties in with any animal medicine or what's your, you seem really love struck right now in your life. You got, some new energy. I would love to hear.
But I didn't actually have that from somebody else. I have it for myself and from myself. Now, with regard to twin flame, I'm not into. We have many twin flames in our life. People who become our friends and stay our friends, and they mirror things for us. And back at ebb and flow, we do that for each other. But for me, if I learn to love myself and learn to love myself like a lover would love, I want a lover to love me, and I go back to that. I am mirroring. I want to mirror what I want. The old saying, do unto others as you would do unto yourself. But I always say, do unto others as you would do unto yourself. But don't wait. Don't wait. Because it's not about the receiving. It's about the giving to oneself. It's about the being. It's about the being of the doing and the doing of the being. Am I or am I not? And I always say, I am. I am the I am that I say I am. So creating esteem for myself from a lifetime of low or no esteem, and mirroring that to somebody, and somebody sees that, and it may be attractive to somebody, but it's not a lover, it's a friend, it's a business acquaintance, it's these different people. I just did a show yesterday with Alexandra from Abracadabra, who owns the studio where my drums are at. And her and I have become just really good friends. And every time we're having a conversation, I say things, she goes, man, I love when you talk like that. I love what, she's hearing my heart. You know, the Bible says, as a man speaketh, or a woman, so are they in their heart. I speak my heart, I speak from my heart, and I think that's the flame that people are looking for. Like, you know, when it comes to being the difference between a moth and the flame, I'll be the flame every time.
Right?
I don't need to be chasing a flame. I don't want to chase a flame, a twin flame. No, I am the flame. And I am the flame that you seek, but seek the flame within yourself. When we give people permission to do that, right? Just like when I'm doing a live and I'm sharing something and I'm telling a story and I become emotional because I feel it in my heart. I give them permission to do the same thing, to be able to cry and allow themselves to have the feelings instead of running on the wheel up here, the squeaky wheel that just drowns out the sound of our heart. So it's really, I feel like it's really about giving them permission to step into their own fire, their own high esteem, their own, what I call, I can, I will, I do. Fire, fuego, the third chakra, fire. The third, what I call the third element, you know, of fire. And you can't give that to somebody. You can only mirror it for them. You can show them the example, and that's what I am. In my healing world, as Walking Crow, I am the example. I am the example that I can live in the heavens as a bird, but I also walk on the earth, and I am grounded as grounded can be. And anybody who meets me in the medicine world or anywhere gets it when they're sitting with me and talking with me, or I'm sitting on the earth and I'm drumming. I'm grounded. Because people ask me, why is your name Walking Crow? Well, that's the name that was given to me, but I had an experience where I saw a walking crow when I was with one of my teachers, Emma. I don't know if you know Emma. And when people ask me, well, what does that mean? It means that I walk on the earth, but I live in the heavens. I live in the heavens. I live in the two worlds. You know, and you know, religion teaches that, but they teach a lot of other things that cause us to be deterred by their constant message. This message came to me from the spirit world. It was channeled to me. I said, okay. I took the responsibility and I became like the crow. And you hear me, and in the morning when I'm asleep or I wake up and I'm listening to them, I'm talking to them. They're outside. They don't even know they might know I'm in the house, but I'm talking to them and wishing them good morning.
Now, do you talk to them in Crow, or do you talk to them in English?
In English.
You see, I talk to them in Crow. So, I mean, I'm also a Crow. Like, Crow is definitely one of my main medicine. We talked about that the other day.
Yeah.
But for me, like, I literally will sit outside, and I always connect with Crow really, really strongly. They're always around me. And I will literally, like, caw at them. I did a demo of that earlier.
Yeah.
And I'll sit out there and I'll caw, and they always caw back. And I can, like, I really understand what they're communicating with their families. Like yesterday I heard them talking about, like, oh, there was some kind of distress about, like, one of the crows was kind of messing with somebody else's nest. And then there was a whole ruckus, and I was like, oh man, drama, crow drama. And of course I'm like, ah!
Well, drama.
Right.
I talk to them in English, but I also talk to them in the spirit language, which is when the ancients speak through me. And, whatever's being said is being said. I don't always have to understand it.
I feel that. Yeah. I think a lot of people are starting to tap in with that ancient knowledge. I'm seeing more people bringing up what they're now they've now kind of given it this phrase, light language. I'm hearing that a lot, this light language. And I know that when I do medicine work and my guides come through, I get the same, I get the same guides, but I also get guides from my clients. Like I'll get their, grandmother or their, one of their guides come through, and it very rarely is it in English. But the medicine that is spoken through me or sung through me or toned through me, like sometimes it's really male, or sometimes it doesn't even feel like it came from Earth. Sometimes it feels like it came from like ancient, ancient Mesopotamia or whatever, wherever it came from. It's just really interesting how that ancient, there's different dialects. I don't know how you got tuned into your ancient wisdom, your guides in that way.
I was doing a radio show on Goldilocks Production, the Transformational Sacred Door Medicine show. And I'd be talking, and all of a sudden, this would come out of my mouth. Hey. And I would say it, and I'm like, I didn't know what that was. And people would ask me, what is it? I'm like, I don't know. That's what's coming through me from wherever. And when I first came to Sedona a couple of years ago, I met, I was at an art fair, and I was walking by a booth, and a lady named Arabelle, who is a Navajo woman, she said, what nation are you from? And I was, I turned around, why are you asking me that? She says, well, you look native. And then we both started laughing. And I told her what my lineage is on my mother's and my father's side. And as soon as I said that to her, she took out sweetgrass, and we both smudged with it. And she took tobacco out, and we shared tobacco on the spot. Wow. And she said, my family is from Monument Valley. Whenever you come to Monument Valley, there will be a hogan for you to stay in. And I was like, wow, that's powerful.
That's beautiful.
Now, I didn't know it, but her mother and her sister were also selling native jewelry there, because that's what Arabelle was doing. She was selling jewelry. And I was walking around, and I saw this grandmother. And I went over and I started talking to her, and she starts telling me about her husband. Now, her husband is deceased, and her husband's name is Harold Cheese. Right? Of course it is. And she said, my husband was a roadman. He was a healer. He would go from town to town healing people. And I was like, how ironic. I said, Grandma, I have to ask you something. I said, there's something that I do that I have some shame behind, because I don't know what it is, and I don't know what to call it. I have songs, and there's these words that I use, and I said, and she says, that is spirit language, and you are supposed to say yes to it. And I'm so honored and glad that she gave me permission, right? The flame.
Yeah.
The twin flame. She gave me permission. See how that all goes back, and how that, it goes full circle with what we're talking about. It goes, I said, okay. And then after that, or even before that, I would go up to Bell Rock or on a hike, and I'd be out there in 100 and whatever degree heat, and a pair of shorts and my medicine bag and nothing else on but tennis shoes. And I'd sit down, and I would drum, and I would offer tobacco, and I would burn sage, and I would start to sing. I would start to drum. And then I would start to sing, and these songs started coming out. So I would record them, and and the language sounded different. Some of it sounded Japanese. Some of it sounded very, very ancient. And what I discovered was Aho Shinowana Honata means thank you, Great Spirit. Thank you, Great Mother. Thank you, power and the guidance of the medicine wheel, all my relations. Aho Mitaku Yasin. And then Aho Shinowana He means thank you, brothers and sisters. And I always set them together, because I was doing a show and they were already channeling through me to the listening audience, those that would tune in, right? Because I was tuned in and they were tuned in to me.
You want to know something even more beautiful? That all is about gratitude. And you know what's coming up next week? Thanksgiving!
Well, was it today or yesterday in my show? I don't know what I was doing. I said, oh, it was today. I talked about gratitude.
Yeah.
I said, gratitude is a daily investment.
It
and
is.
That is one of my quotes that was one of the quotes that they gave me because they knew the ingratitude that I lived in. I was an ungrateful egomaniac, and I didn't know how to release myself of that. So
gratitude has done so much shifting even in my life. Like the minute you sit down and you really think about the specifics that you're grateful for, like, yeah, I can be, grateful for my partner and my kids, and I can be grateful for my house, but thinking about the fact that, like, I have a nice house. There's people who are grateful for a cardboard box. I have really high quality food and I have fresh water. That's more than a lot of people on this planet. And gratitude, like going, into specifics, like I'm so grateful that I went from point A to point B to point C. Look at that. Look at all that change. I mean, it's a beautiful thing to like look back and see where you came from, which is a lot of what we've been talking about is like your journey, where you came from. You have absolutely no shame about your journey. And I commend that, because even I love my journey. I appreciate my journey. And like for me, I have no shame for my own journey, but sharing that journey is really scary, because I got a lot of judgment, not even sharing my journey, but just going on my journey. That was a big part of it.
I don't know if you've heard me talk about being selfless like the grandmother trees. And I talk about being rooted and fruited. And I extend my branches into the heavens, and the birds of the air, the crows, nest in my branches and eat of my fruit. And what is my fruit? To your point, my fruit is the experiences that I share of how I got from point A to point B, and that's it, and that's all. And you say to me, me too. Oh my gosh, you start to tell me, you start to connect your story. That mirror thing is going on, the flame. Now your esteem just rose because of something I said, and all I'm doing is being a tree. And I'm being, and I coined this phrase the other day, in the fall, in your fall, you will stand naked before the world. In fall, in autumn. But I said it in your fall. I want people to understand, and a lot of the way that I teach can be called heyoka, because I'm sarcastic and I'll say something to you in a serious manner, and you're going to have to like pay attention. You're going to have to really step up to hear it. In your fall, you will stand naked before the world. That's what happens when in autumn the trees lose their leaves, and guess what they do? Not only do they lose their leaves, but they remain rooted and fruited, and they keep giving to the world. Grandmother tree, can I have a branch to make my drum? Grandmother tree, can I have a branch to build my house? I'm cold, grandmother, can I have a branch? I don't take the whole tree. I go to a different tree. But interesting thing about doing that, so I'm giving, I'm rooted and I'm fruited, and I'm giving, because that's what I do.
And then you give gratitude, right?
What comes with that is the tree never, ever sees itself. It sees the star, the moon, the sun, the sky. It sees the clouds. It sees the birds of the air. It sees the ground animals. It sees you and me, but it never sees itself. That's what I want for me. I want to mirror the tree as much as possible. I will be a grandmother in my duality, in my divine feminine, and I will also be a grandfather rock, or a grandfather stone, grandfather son. I am the light. right? Grandfather, son. The manifestation of the male energy is the direction of the east, direction of springtime, new beginning. So I get to be the sun, the light, the shimmering light that glows on the water in the direction of the west, direction of the woman at the time of losing the leaves, of the fall, of being bare and naked. And it's the tree that warms the tree over time, and in springtime, because of the sun, because of water, because of the air, it starts to sprout new growth, new leaves, and new food for all of us, new branches, all of those things. That's what I want to be. You know, I want to be like the tree. And, you know, and it may sound like a lot of hooey hocus pocus to some people in other realms, if you will, you know, in the city, you know, where they're busy being in their third eye and you know, and in their ego and their low self-esteem.
You can't be in your third eye without being grounded into the earth. If you're in your third eye and you're not grounded in your body, in your feet, then what you're actually channeling is not wisdom or insight from your guides. It ends up being like just a bunch of static.
Yeah,
Static.
right? It's the judgment that we judge others with, that I used to judge others with back. Giving my whatever. Sorry. Yeah, that's what that is. But I mean, when I talk about, you hear me, I don't apologize. I'm very, as a matter of fact, and I have stepped into the power of the wisdom that I have been given in the duality, the second half of my lifetime, because of the things that I walked through in the first 52 years of my life. Those are the stepping stones to when I became an elder at 52, according to the Mayan tradition. Now all those things are the stepping stones of my wisdom, and others will heal because I had those not so great experiences, but they were awesome. Those 3 marriages I talked about, those were experiences that, oh, pay attention, Anthony. You were not supposed to, you were busy trying to get love and begging and pleading from your mother, and she didn't have the capability to give it because it's a battle. It's a battle. But I already love you. I couldn't hear that, right? So I searched in all the wrong places.
Yeah.
And I ended up with nothing but and it wasn't nothing because I have the wisdom to help people who are stepping into a relationship. And, you know, and I say, if you love yourself like you would want a lover to love you, right? Where did I get that from? I didn't go to college, but I have all this wisdom that comes from looking at my experience and stepping out of my fishbowl, like Mercury retrograde, right? Communication retrograde slows down. I step out of my fishbowl and look into the fishbowl at my playing field. I go back inside with my vision, with my eyes, and then I go, when I get it, I go back inside and I'm inside. I'm not pulling it in from an external place. You know, we met at Lionheart, and at Lionheart, Laura Fine used to say, what you learn here is not going to come from here. What you learn here is going to come from here. Wow. I have been overpaid by that statement. You know, I'm not really, because I still have a whole lot of life to live. But if you understand the statement of gratitude and love, and just like, wow, I've been honored, and I get honored every day, and it's always something, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I can do this.
And we're back at gratitude, holding that space of gratitude for, well, you know, not just this beautiful Thanksgiving that's going to be coming, but like gratitude is a huge part of evolving and, experience and recognizing how far you've come. And when you hold gratitude in your heart, you actually invite more wealth, more experience, and more love and light into your life. And that's what I find to be like one of the most beautiful parts of, you know, practicing gratitude, whether it be making a list or Ho'oponopono even has like an element of gratitude where you're saying like, thank you, I love you, you know, all that. Please forgive me. Thank you. I'm sorry. That I think that's, I got them all. But the thank you and I love you part, like, I am so grateful for my life. And I'm grateful to you for being here and for sharing your life with all of the listeners that are listening, whether it be presently or in the future. Like, it's a very vulnerable, naked spot to be in. Just
Right?
being there, yeah, and holding that space and sharing your story and your wisdom. And it is interesting, like, hearing what does come through, because you do seem to just kind of have this flow that comes through when you're speaking. It's really, really beautiful how it just moves very fluidly through you. So I'm gonna take a look here real quick. Yes, we should definitely be doing an offering or sharing a practice to connect people with their animal medicine. Did you want to do a medicine song, or did you want to do a practice? What did you want to offer our listeners to help them on their personal journey to enlightenment, to ascension? What do you want to share? What does Spirit want to share?
There's a song that I sang today when I opened the video, the Moon Day video that I did this morning. O-Y-A, 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 O-Y-A. I am joy, I am light, I am spirit, and I am joy, I am love, I am spirit, and I am light, right? But we talked about that, the sun, I am the light, I am the shining light, the shimmering light. And I like to sing that because there's the I in it. I am, you know, O-Y-A, I am joy. There's the you in it. You are joy, you are love, you are spirit, you are light. Then there's the we. There's no I without you, and there's no us without we. And so it's about stringing together and sewing together the collective and bringing it into a place where I'm not a needy person, but I want you to be in my life. I don't want to need you to be in my life, but because of who and what I am, I'm going to extend the invitation because, damn it, I'm worth it. Right? And that's speaking to the twin flame energy that we were talking about. It's not all about sappy love and all that stuff. No. My friend that I had lunch with today, it may just be a kuranda, you know, we're the balance, we're elders and we come together and we do ceremony. Who knows what that is going to look like. I'm not in a hurry to get to point B.
You're just enjoying the journey. You have gratitude for the steps along the journey. So let's hold space for that gratitude. Did you want me to drum with you or join in
or whatever?
Yeah, I got. Do you want to rattle? Or you want drumming? I got both.
Whatever you want. I'm gonna light a little sage.
Cool. I think I'll do the
same. Light a little sage, make a little love, get down to that. And I'm gonna smoke the pipe, open the portal for the song, for the spirits to come in and honor the listening audience. Oye na hashinete, oishi na kota, eya na hoshinete ho. Oye na ka, oishi nete ho, aya na hashinete, oishi. Naha. Oi, Shina, te ho, she, Oa, 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 I am joy. I am love. I am spirit. And I am light. Oa, 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 you are joy. You are love. You are spirit. And you are light. Oa, 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 we are joy. We are love. We are spirit. And we are light. Oishinakate. Oishinaka. Hoshine se hoyana. Oishinaka. Hoshi. Oyana. Hoshine. Oyeneke. Ayana. Oyeneke. Aho. Shinewana. Honata. Aho. Shinewana. Aho. Aho.
Love the sage. Thank you. Thank you for all of those listening. I'm going to hold space. Walking Crow's going to hold space that you receive the cleansing, the clearing, the blessing as well.
You know, I would ask that those listening and those that are that listen reluctantly at the same time, that they would stop being afraid, that they would stop feeling the shame, that they would let go of the hurt, that they would let go of the wound, and they would rise above. Rise above. Breathe into your lungs, breathe through your lungs and into your fire and stoke that fire. Give yourself the fuel and the breath you have always wanted, not what you needed, but what you always wanted and have been distracted from.
Aho.
Be the light. Be the light. Oh.
Aho. That was beautiful. Thank you so much. That was a beautiful offering. Thank you for letting me participate.
You're welcome. I'm honored. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, I don't think we've done that together, so that was really special because I do it with your videos. When I watch you live, I'm always like drumming and tooting in and singing alongside, and I make sure I do like harmonies sometimes. I'm like, yeah, I'm going with it. My guides sometimes even throw in their own little light language or ancient wisdom.
Right.
And it's beautiful. So thank you for allowing me to share that with you because I've been doing that in secret.
No, it's not a secret anymore.
It's not secret anymore. But
yeah, thank you for joining in because, you know, the other day we went to go do Journey and the group that went said, well, should we bring our drums and rattles? I'm like, it's up to you. I'm taking you on a journey, but that's up to you. And they all left them in the car. So, because I wanted them to not have to do anything, just to be engulfed by the sound of the 27-inch drum.
Yeah, I've heard that one. That one's beautiful. That buffalo drum, right? Oh man, that one really gets me. Like not even up here. It's more like down here. It's a good drum. It's a good drum. Well, thank you so much, all of you listening. Thank you, Walking Crow, for being here. And why don't you go ahead and share your information, where they can find you, how they can reach out, take your classes, get some of your wisdom.
Well, I'm based in Sedona, in the village of Oak Creek, and I have a studio there called. I'm inside a studio called Out of the Blue, where you can find transformational sacred drum medicine, birthed by me, earth medicine, drums and rattles. and even sacred blankets that I use for ceremony. You can find that by going to www.sacreddrummedicine.com, www.sacreddrummedicine.com. If you want to reach out to me, you have questions, you can send an email to walkingcrow@sacreddrummedicine.com, walkingcrow@sacreddrummedicine.com, or Anthony@sacreddrummedicine.com, Anthony@sacreddrummedicine.com, or you can call me, you can reach out to me or text me at area code 818-442-1717. Oh.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And thank you all of those listening from home. Thank you guys for supporting my show. Please be sure to subscribe if you want to listen more. And I hope to have Walking Crow on again in the future. And let me know, write me some comments, send me some messages for anything you'd like to improve on the show or anything you like. I want to hear from you. So thank you guys so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And,
Blessings to everybody.
yeah, thank you. And hope you guys have a good, Thanksgiving. Have a good week, you guys. Bye.